What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show from the Valley to the Mountaintop podcast. I'm your host, Micah Gibson. Today, we have a special guest in the building. I'm going to let him introduce himself and his company. And while you're at it, give us a little bit of background on your upbringing.
How y'all doing, guys? My name's Preston Godfrey, the owner of Godfrey Standards Landscaping out in Cartersville, Georgia, near Atlanta. And my upbringing is uh, I grew up in a great family that raised me to be a young, well entrepreneur. And yeah, I'm ready to answer some of Gibson's questions.
Yeah, man, how I found you, man, I ran across your TikTok page, man, and the first video I seen was, I don't know if it was Home Depot or Lowe's, but you was on that small Toro mower. And I'm assuming you
Oh,
had
yeah.
you had just purchased it, and then the next video it showed you set up. And man, I just been on a rabbit hole ever since, just consuming, man, a lot of your videos, man. And it's real interesting how you would go from that zero turn in the parking lot. Was it Home Depot or Lowe's?
That one was Home Depot.
Home Depot. It's interesting, man, how you can go from right there and you was able to capture that moment to what all you accomplished today, man. And bro, I really love, man, your channel, man, and just seeing how you moving and grooving, man, is just awesome to me, man.
For sure, yeah. So that Home Depot purchase, it's funny you say that. I was on the Toro, but I actually ended up going with the Cub Cadet 42 inch. That is a typical mower. I feel like a lot of new guys start off with, but how I kind of led to that point was, I wasn't really supposed to be cutting yards. That was never an interest of mine. Really, I was a soccer player, and COVID hit, and from COVID, I had to choose. I was just like, I'm going to choose to make extra money to save up for college. So me and my buddy ended up getting a little mower. I didn't start with that mower. He had a push mower from his dad's, and I didn't even have a truck. I used to drive a Lexus to school, um, and all I cared about was soccer. So, at that point, I was saying, let's just go make extra money, knocking on doors and doing family properties just for college. And the whole time I'm debating between college and starting a company, but I didn't think anything of it because me and my buddy were both athletes, and he was on a scholarship going to Tennessee, and then I was on a pretty big scholarship for soccer to stay locally and play around here. But I went to the whole college thing, and school's never been my thing. I really didn't have a lot of focus in school, and I mean, I was never a super bad kid. I loved sports and I loved talking to people and being around my friends, but I never cared about the schoolwork, to be quite honest with you. Um, and yeah, from there, I remember going to college and getting my paperwork, and I was sitting there with my mom, and I was like, I'm gonna have to do some hard praying on this. I don't know if this is my thing. So I tell the coach that, and he's begging me to play, and he's upping the money for the scholarship, and that's all I ever wished for when I was younger was I'm gonna make it on a soccer scholarship and go to college, and heck, I didn't know what I was gonna do. Everybody in school would always ask or push college on you, and I would just say something like sports medicine or something like that. I had no clue. Um, in all reality, I just wanted to go play soccer, but I told my parents, I was like, I'm not really feeling this whole college thing. I was on a $60,000 scholarship to a Division II school, which
Wow.
doesn't typically happen. They usually spend their money towards foreigners and stuff. Especially I was going to a local Christian school too, so that never really happens, and soccer's not really popular around here. So that was super big for anyone around my area. But I did a lot of praying, man, and I decided to buy a push mower, and I traded trucks with my father. I ended up taking over this white GMC vehicle, and my buddy left for college, and he left for college, and then all my other friends left for college, and I had a push mower and a truck, and nobody truly believed in me. Only one was probably my father. Um, you know, my mom being a mom, she was always just worried what I was going to do because I didn't decide college, and nobody in my family's ever started a company of any kind. So I was like, this is very scary for their son to be saying out of the blue he wants to cut grass for a living. That was just something that just never really crossed their minds or my minds. It kind of just popped up, and I seen the potential and the money that could be made, but I also had a lot of doubt going into it. And seeing my friends go for sports, to college, I was like, dang, maybe I didn't choose the right decision, but I stuck it out. And yeah, I mean, the push mower broke on me one day,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad was like, basically, it was like, I'll fund you the money for your first mower. He was like, since you didn't go with the college route, he was like, you actually saved us a ton of money because, even if you're on a scholarship for college, you're still going to be looking by the end of the 4 years, 40 to 60,000 that, they were probably going to fund. I'm not going to lie to you.
Right, right.
So he was like, I'll fund you the money, and you just pay me back from the yards you get, and you always take care of our yards, and I'll fund you for the first mower. And then from that first mower, I tell you what, I told him that I was like, if I can just get a riding mower and not have to push mow these yards, I feel like I could make something out of it. I won't lie, Gibson, my mom was pretty heated that day. And I didn't have my own trailer or anything yet. It was actually my buddy that went off to college that ended up driving a trailer over there and helping me load it up. And yeah, after that, I got that mower, and I just slowly started progressing. But during the first 2 years, my parents were kind of, not my dad, but more my mom and my grandparents and stuff. They were kind of just pushing the trades on me,
Mm-hmm.
the welding and stuff like that you do.
Mm-hmm.
They were pushing that for a safety net and for me to actually have something worth value because, like I said, they didn't know anything about business, and they didn't, I mean, I don't know, maybe they didn't see a crazy big future in cutting yards, because it kind of does sound like you can't make money at it at first, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took off, and it took a lot of time to slowly grow like that. And I always told my dad, and my dad always told me, he didn't know much about business, but he was like, man, grow slowly, grow with what you can afford. Don't look at anyone else, and don't compare, and just grow at the rate that you have to grow at. He was like, you just want to grow at a safe rate. It's your first business. So that's what I did. And that's kind of how I got to the point. It's a lot of behind the scenes and a lot of stuff people didn't get to see, but that's kind of how I ended up, with the setup I have this year.
Right. And that's what I want to do, man. I want to highlight what people don't see, because only thing I see is I just see the video with you on the Toro, and then next I just see, man, he made it. But what I want to ask you is, what I want to ask you, when you got your first property, like, what was that
Oh
feeling for
yeah.
you when you got your first property?
I mean, I don't. The feeling was the feeling was great. I always worried about. I mean, I had no one teaching me. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have a true real job with anyone teaching me. All I've ever known was push mowing my parents' yard.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know if I was weed eating correctly. At the time, man, I didn't even have a blower. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could go back and help these people that I screwed up, because
Right.
in all honesty, I've never really charged cheap. So I was charging what other guys that could do good quality was charging, and man, I was definitely jacking some yards up. I
but
I, I
but
was
you
definitely not cut.
what's funny though, man, is you had them like you said, you wasn't charging cheap. Man, you was
No.
already ahead of the pack because a lot of guys start off and just charge bare bones minimum. And by you, like you said, you came in like, hey, charging what everybody else charging. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I came off the rip charging what everyone else. I just called around and figured out what everyone else was charging, and I was like, okay, well, if this is the average, then this is what I'm gonna go with. And man, I didn't have a blower. I had a broom, and I used to lift the push mower up or the mower, and I would lower the deck to blow it off the driveway. So if it was a back patio, that was getting swept. And like heck, I don't even think I was probably blowing AC units off or any of that. It was, and I didn't even know how to edge. I remember the first client that asked me, "Can you put an edge down?" I started looking up YouTube videos because I didn't have TikTok really at the time.
Right, right.
Um, so that's what I was looking up. But so I definitely jacked a few yards up, and I had to learn as I went because I didn't start working for another company. I didn't have any connections to another company at the time. And all I knew was what I did on my family's property, and we live on farm grass, so I was never on nice Bermuda yards, and I
Okay.
didn't know, so I just went with it and learned as I went, really.
Now you said you had to start watching a few YouTube videos. Did you run across any content creators like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, or you just kind of fumbled your way through?
A lot of people hate on this content creator now that I'm in like the lawn talk side of things.
Hmm.
Um, but I used to watch. I think his name's Blades of Grass, or maybe.
Yeah, that's the black
He
guy, isn't it, with the beard?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's in Florida or something.
and he's in I think
Um,
he in Georgia, man. Where you at?
oh,
Not
he's in Savannah, Georgia, ain't he?
okay. Yeah, I know it's Georgia. It probably is Savannah, Georgia. Yeah.
I think he's somewhere there. And on YouTube, that's the only guy I ever knew when I looked up how to edge a yard or how to do something. So I used to watch him, and really, I just took any advice I could get, and I'm sure I did pretty bad at first, but I just kept pushing forward with it, and I don't know, I didn't really get too many bad complaints. I mean, I had a few drop me just because I really didn't know what I was doing, but for the most part, I can tell you my communication was always good with the people. I knew that was a big thing. I knew, okay, I'm not crazy good at cutting grass. I don't have all the nice equipment like everyone else, but at least I can communicate and at least be respectful. And they probably seen young guy. Let's not dig into him too much,
Hmm.
but it did work. So
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Now look, let me ask you, like, I know you said you had your push more. Like what was your first equipment you bought that you was like really proud of? Like it may not been top of the line commercial. Like what was your like, man, I really like you've worked hard, you save your money, you finally bought this one piece of equipment. That could be either a string trimmer, hedge trimmers, backpack blower. What was your first piece of equipment that you bought that you considered was, man, this is a good piece of equipment?
in all honesty, besides that Cub Cadet mower, I would say the first piece of equipment that I bought, and I was like, wow, there's a huge difference in this, is I went from a little, after the broom, I got a little $20 like red electrical uh, plug-in drop cord like blower. But then like a year into it, I bought a big Echo X commercial
Mm-hmm.
grade blower, and I was like, wow, like this is, I was like, this is huge. I was
Right.
like, man, what I can blow off, like there could be anything I could blow off. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I would say the Echo blower, the X, the big PB 8010s,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
those are powerful.
those those are the first one I bought with that. I was like, wow, like yeah, that's pretty crazy. But I mean, besides that, I started kind of late into the season when I did join into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I kind of had about 2 to 3 months to cut grass and save money,
Mm-hmm.
and then I ended up financing a Billy Goat leaf vacuum. That was a huge thing, and I didn't have a lot of bills at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just living with my parents, I really didn't have a lot of bills, so I got to stack a lot of my money.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to purchase the leaf vacuum, and I was like the first one in my area to have a leaf vacuum like that, unless you went deeper into Atlanta, which is some of the nicer areas. But I'm kind of out in the country.
Right.
Um, so so that those two purchases right there were probably some big game changers. Of I was like, wow, like this is real deal.
Right. Now let me ask you with the leaf loader, because like I say, by us being in the South, you don't see leaf loaders, and I don't know why. I just
Hmm.
assumed you was up north. That's how we got the times off. But by you saying that, like you're the only one in your area, I'm sure it's probably one more guy, or you may be the only one in your area. But like that's not a big thing down here in the South. Like most guys either mulch the leaves up or they just won't get them
Yeah.
up, you know.
Well,
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. So I mean, down where I'm at, it's really not super common either. Like you said, mulching, bagging, or blowing to the woods is the three most common around here.
Mm-hmm.
But where I have a good upper hand is if someone blows the leaves for the city to come get, and our city is real bad about not being on time.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I can make light work out of these piles. So if I can get a neighborhood stacked up with piles on the street, I can go through and just start banging them out like crazy. But I will say the leaf vacuum for where we're at too in the south, it's not it's not super crazy. I always have it on standby, but um I wouldn't recommend any other lawn care guys to get one where I live, just because like you said, you can mulch and you can blow to the woods and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um so that's mainly what I'm doing too, is mulching and blowing to the woods, mulching and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
But you think it would be a big game changer, like by you being the only one with it, people would be like, well, man, you know what? I do want my leaves removed. But it's
yeah,
that's an
it's
interesting
I mean
take.
it's really, yeah, if I'm being honest with you, it's not crazy. It's okay, but a lot of people where I live don't want to pay the extra to get the leaf vacuumed,
Okay.
is what I've noticed.
Okay.
They kind of like to be cheap, and then if a guy can come in and mulch it for 120 or whatever he's charging, and I'm trying to charge 300 to get it vacuumed, they're just like, okay, well, at the end of the day, it's kind of look the same, and you know, so I have to deal with that a good bit. If I really want leaf vacuum jobs, I have to drive. I mean, not everyone, but if I want really high paying clients, I gotta drive 45 minutes, and I don't see that being super profitable for me. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't tend to drive out and vacuum piles, because now, if you drive 45 minutes to an hour away, there's some guys out there that probably have leaf vacuums in
Okay.
the Atlanta area.
Okay.
But where I'm at in the country, yeah, there's nobody with a leaf vacuum. So I can get a few jobs. Like I could probably do two, honestly, only about 2 to 3 vacuuming jobs a week. And then the rest is just my weekly maintenance of me taking care of the yards and
Okay.
mulching, blowing to the woods, stuff like that. So I do more mulching, if I'm honest with you.
Okay. Do you regret buying the leaf vac? If you can go back, would you buy it again?
You know, I don't.
Hard to say.
I do. Yeah, it's a very hard one, honestly, because when I first did it, maybe it's because I was charging cheaper when I first did it, but I had a lot more people wanting the service. But now that I kind of seen, maybe I wasn't super profitable during the first 2 years with it. I was like, you know, I'm making okay money. I call it staying alive money.
Okay.
Um, staying alive, not not having to go grab another job when I probably could have, and I probably could have made more, but I just didn't want to. So I call that staying alive money.
I got you.
But yeah, so I mean, it's okay. It's paid off now. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
got a really good deal on the 36 horsepower that I do have. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they retail for I think 10 to 12,000. I found a Facebook one with 2 hours on it for 6,500. So
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
I
You
was like,
couldn't
man,
pass that
I
up.
gotta drive. Yeah, I was like, I gotta drive and go get that because I was debating when I sold my 13 horsepower. I was like, do I really want to leaf vacuum again? I was like, is this like, because it ain't a cheap setup. I was
No,
like, is
it's
this
not.
something I want to invest in? And then I was debating it all year. I was like, I ain't gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna get another mower with a bagging kit on it, and that's all I'm gonna do. Well,
Yeah.
I'm scrolling on Facebook like most of us do,
Yeah.
and I was like, shoot, man. I, I was like, with that deal, that's a sign for me to go get it. So I went and purchased it. Um, and then I went and got the hybrid dump trailer to go along with it. So, but that setup's okay. It's a very top of the line setup here, but it's not crazy. It doesn't make me crazy money, honestly.
Okay. What's one thing about the lawn business nobody told you about that you kind of had to, I'm not gonna say learn the hard way, but what's one thing in this business that nobody talks about that you learned?
Um, it can well, at my age, I had to understand that really owning the landscaping business, a lot of people were gonna. I got used a good bit, and I let people kind of um not even clients, just people seeing I started making good money and getting used. You see how people really are when money gets involved, and then the lawn care industry, or I guess any business, can be very lonely at times because you don't really have anyone that you can relate to unless like me or you are talking, or I'm talking to someone on social media. But at the time, none of my friends were in business, my parents weren't in business, and nobody was really understanding the daily struggle that I was going through, um, with the worries, the bookkeeping, and also doing the work. I just really didn't have too many people to talk to, and if I did, they didn't fully understand it. So I guess that part in the business was a shocker to me at first, of like how much time it was going to take to dedicate, and how much stuff, as some people would say, you're going to have to miss out on. But I don't like saying that because it created a lifestyle where I've experienced more things that most people get to experience at my age and older.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, just the loneliness that comes in business if you don't have anyone to talk to it about. But luckily, I had a good support system. But it's hard when someone doesn't know what you're going through, but they don't really understand it because they don't have a business.
Right. Did you have any mentors um for you, or you didn't really have any mentors for
I
your business?
I didn't I didn't really have any mentors for my business until about year three. I got plugged into a good Bible study group
Awesome.
where
Awesome.
a lot of them had good. They all had different businesses. It wasn't lawn care, um, but it was different businesses that I could, talk to, and I could really express what was going on and stuff in business.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they've my parents and wife, they've always been able to listen to me really well. It's just at times when I'm looking for that advice, I don't really get it because I didn't have a business mentor.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, always had a listening ear. It's just more no one to really bounce what I should do next off of. It was really just um, pray and then go with my gut feeling of whatever I felt was truly right on my next purchases or what I should do with business. So a lot of it was trial and error, figuring it out,
Mm-hmm.
failing, getting mad, feeling like wanting to give up, and then just keep pushing through on the hard days. Really.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. I remember a little bit back you said you've had people take advantage of you, not necessarily clients, but do you remember a time back when you did have clients taking advantage of you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would get to properties, and I mean, I started this when I was 18. Um, and I would get to properties, and we would discuss over the phone what was the price for a certain thing, and then they would try to throw in an extra something for me. And I'm not gonna lie, Gibson. Yeah, I've stood on the business of you're not gonna take advantage over me
Wow,
at
wow,
all.
wow.
So I mean, even at 18, um, I won't say nothing on a podcast, but I guess you can say I had the guts to say, no, it's not what we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pay me for what we discussed, and I've already done what we've discussed, so I need the payment. I've only kind of had one client ever screw me out of money on a yard. I did it without having any payment already set up, and yeah, I never got paid. I think they moved out of the house and left. But in that sense, business, it didn't it never changed me to have a different heart towards people,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't put up with BS from people, and I don't really trust a lot of people, honestly. So um it definitely changed me. I used to be the kid that thought everybody had good intentions for you.
Mm-hmm.
um and I guess I was kind of living in a fairy tale with that, because that's just not how the world is.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned real quick that not everybody's looking for your best intentions. Well, most people aren't. So yeah, I kind of learned real quick to stand up for myself. Of you're not going to do that. But now, as I've gotten older and more established, I don't even get too many BS clients, because I won't take them on before I can even hear them on the phone call. I'll just be like,
Right.
yeah, you're not
Right.
you're not for me, because I'm not dealing with that.
And man, that's awesome because a lot of guys, it don't matter if it's lawn care, roofing, plumbing, it don't matter what it is. In the beginning, everybody gets taken advantage of because you don't know what you don't know. And then I've even talked to one guy. I talked to this one guy recently. He did an $1,800 job for this guy, and the guy told him, he said, "Look, man, I'll give you 1,000." And not the fact that he didn't have a contract in place, but it was how you meet a guy and, oh man, yeah, we'll do this. He didn't have a contract in place, and he just thinking, man, look, this is a 1 day job. We'll get the 1,800 and I'm out of here. And the guy was like, look, man, all I got is 1,000. And he was like, man, I was grateful for the 1,000, but he knew he took a loss. And it's like some business owners, when they're starting out, when they're in the beginning stages, they know they're going to take a loss, but they do it anyway just for the money and hope somebody else will see their work and then kind of make it up on the tail end. And man, that's good.
Yeah,
Since the beginning, you stood on business and said, "Hey, man, I'm not this what it is." You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, I always let them know, like, if I'm gonna be out here putting in the hard work on your property, I mean, the price is what it is, and if you agree to it, then that's what's gonna be paid. So I mean, if I'm gonna end up doing free charity work for somebody, that's gonna be my choice giving back. It's not gonna be their choice, in all
Right,
honesty.
right, right. Now let me ask you, what up to date? What is your most expensive mistake you've made in business?
Mm. Up to date, most expensive mistake I made in business. Now I'm kind of trying to make up for it now. Was I was going to do Christmas lights one year, and I thought, heck, dude, lawn care took off for me. I got enough lawn care clients. Christmas lights will take off for me, and I ended up spending like close to $5,000 before Christmas light season started, and I started late in the season
Mm-hmm.
because people were already kind of putting up after Halloween, and I was like, holy cow,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was going to come this early. And when I didn't trust in myself, I did not know how to do lights. Like I said, I usually learn stuff on my own, but this time I had no confidence at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I was speaking to people on TikTok, but my confidence level to go do the job was low, and I bought all the stuff, and I just did not push it. I thought that stuff was just going to be handed to me and given to me in the palm of my hands,
Mm-hmm.
when that's just not how businesses work, and you really have to grind after it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got humbled with that, and then I gave up for it for probably I gave up on it last year, and then this year I did a few Christmas light installs, and I'm trying to, you know, make my money back on that, make my way through it. Um, I didn't really push it this year towards the end of it. I kind of just texted people in my contact list last minute, seeing if they wanted to get this service done. So I do think I will be doing Christmas lights next year. So I think that loss that I did have 2 years ago will finally turn into a profit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but off the rip, I was I invested a good bit of money, and I just didn't push it. I kind of just sat back and thought that it would just come to me because I already had clientele, and that's just not how it worked out. So
Right.
that was one loss I really did. I had, so I was like, dang. But I mean, like I said, I'm trying to make my way back on it now. So yeah, that would be the loss I had.
Now let me ask you this: in lawn care, it's either what I'm fixing to ask you. It's either it already happened or it's going to happen. Have you broke a window in business?
Oh yeah. Well, hold on now. Have I broke a window? I do not. I have not broke a window, but usually one of my workers will break one one each a season.
Yeah,
Honestly, is what
that's average.
yeah, yeah. They'll at least get them one window, and it's always got to be some new building, new construction where they've just left rocks in the edges and around the fence lines. And heck, these yards are only $65 a pop, and I'm not making a ton of money off of them per year. So
Right.
I'm like, man, I'm free cutting out here. That's what it feels like.
Eating right into profits.
Yeah, I was like, but with them, if they usually on the first window, I go ahead and cover that, and I've never had an employee break more than one,
Mm-hmm.
so it's never been too big of an issue for me. It's usually 1 to 2 a season that gets broke,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't claimed any of them on insurance yet. They've always not been too high for me to be like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always got a window guy to go out there and fix it, and I've
Mm-hmm.
always covered it. But me personally, I have not broke a window yet. But I will say, I'm not on the weed eater as much as
Right.
they are, but I'm also I'm a lot more careful, and I'm always weed eating the correct way.
Right.
So
Right.
I've not hit one yet, but that does not mean I could not go out tomorrow
Right.
and bust one out. I could.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
Now I seen on your TikTok page that you have 3 dump trailers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to ask you, what has been your most expensive purchase in business?
Well, right now, um, I've got the 2024 truck, but I didn't. This ain't paid off. I make
Mm-hmm.
payments on this,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna count that.
Mm-hmm.
But my most expensive purchase in business is probably. I'm not gonna say anything if it's not paid off. Like the tractor I have is not paid off, so that's payment. So it's not technically mine or whatever. So I'm not gonna claim that. But the most expensive I've taken and paid off was probably my $15,000 hybrid dump trailer. So
Okay. Okay. Now let me ask you. All right. Now let's say you have a guy scrolling through TikTok and he come across your page and he see all the equipment you have, the trucks. Um, he see everything that you have and he see what it is you're doing. At what
mhm.
point did you overcome your fear and start, let me buy this, let me buy that, let me buy this? Because when you have some people, they'd be like, man, a zero turn costs $12,000. That's ridiculous. I ain't no way. But it's like when you buy that first piece of equipment, let's say you buy a zero turn for 12,000. You might be sweating a little bit. But
Oh yeah.
after you buy that first zero turn, it's like, man, this ain't nothing. I can buy another one.
Yeah.
What point?
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
the turning point was I remember having that Cub Cadet, and I was about to buy my second mower, and like I said, my friends didn't really know business, and they were like, "Dude, why do you need a second mower?" I was like, "Well, what I hear is, what if one breaks down?" I was like,
Right.
"You gotta have one."
Right.
Um, so I started purchasing, and my rule of thumb, for what I do for my mowers, for the most part, is I haven't financed one yet. I've always been okay. You know what? I'm gonna buy this mower when the time's right. I was like, nothing. Like I've got enough mowers to cover me, and I can go cut. I've got I think 4 or 5, something like that, at the moment. And I was like, well, all of them cut. Some just cut better, and some do better on yards.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I got enough backups and enough mowers that I can go cut with all of
Mm-hmm.
them. So I'm not going to purchase my next one unless I really feel the need to finance one. But most likely, I'm going to purchase in cash for the most part. Um, but now that doesn't say I won't finance one. I would if
Mm-hmm.
needed. If I picked up another huge account and say I needed a brand new mower, well, I'd go purchase one. But um, I just started learning that this money's doing nothing for me sitting in my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I got enough to pay my bills and be comfortable, I'll keep a certain amount in my bank account that I feel is correct for me at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest, I'm always looking for a new purchase in lawn care. I'm always looking for, okay, what needs to be replaced? Do I need to upgrade this? This is going bad. I need to get a new one. So I just started learning, hey, heck, dude, a lot of this is gonna have to be turned back into your company, and I don't. Me personally, I don't have a, I don't really shop. I don't really care about new clothes or any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if I'm buying something, it's for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So my spending habits are really locked down. It's really just food, bills, gym memberships, and maybe some stuff for pickleball. That's about it. Other than that,
Right.
I'm not shopping. What I like to do though is I'm a sucker for I'll pay for some experiences. I love to if I can travel and I can take trips with my friends and wife and family and stuff. I'm here to make some memories,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that I can't hold this money forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't be an idiot with it, but I will definitely spend it on other stuff than the business. But most of the part, 80% of it goes back into the business, and then I just take whatever I feel that needs to be comfortable for my bills and stuff. So
Well,
I'm investing pretty much a lot of my income back into my business, especially when with me being young. I'm ready to just keep reinvesting, keep getting better equipment, and keep building it.
right.
Um,
Now where do you see I want to get your 5 year plan and your 10 year plan for your business. Where do you see your business in 5 years, and then where do you see it in 10 years?
okay. 5 years. My goal is see, I don't want to be a massive company like all the other people talk about. I know everybody's got their own goals. Um, I want to have 1 to 2 crews. I really want in this year. I would really like for one crew to be running pretty much all season, and then I'm going to be on the back burner of I'll fill in if a guy gets sick
Mm-hmm.
or I'm trying to be out landing jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll kind of take a little bit of a loss in the money, but I think it'll end up making me more money if I can be out of the field. But for the 5 year plan, man, it's 5 to 10 years. I still, I want people running it for me, but I don't mind being in the field. I really don't. I don't mind working hard. Never had. So really, wherever the Lord takes me in those 5 to 10 years is where He takes me.
Gotcha.
But if I'm being honest with you, Gibson, and there is no hate to anybody on lawn TikTok, anybody. But
Mm-hmm.
I think lawn care will always be a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm in the 40s to 50s, man, I don't want to. I started this young, and I don't want. I see my potential, and I don't want to be just known as he owns a lawn care company.
Right.
I want to own other companies that are bringing in a lot of money. Um, and you know what I see the typical thing around my area is there's two big companies around my area that
Mm-hmm.
have people running box trucks and stuff, and I've spoke to all of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've spoke to the guys that are like my size,
Mm-hmm.
and these dudes have been doing this for 15 to 17 years, and I don't know their backstory or their history. But Gibson, I'm not trying to be 45 years old talking about lawn care equipment at a local gas station with the same fools that I've seen since I'm 18 years old.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, I I don't see how. Now I got another buddy too that does lawn care. I don't see how me and him have caught them in 4 years. We've caught up to these guys that have done this for 17 years. We've caught them or surpassed them, and I'm 22 having the same conversation as them, and I know they got their house and they got their kids and they got a lot more bills than me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when I hit that age, I don't want to just be known as he's still talking about lawn care. And like I say it, there's no hate because
Mm-hmm.
everybody starts off and everybody's got a different life story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but with me being super focused and driven, I just see myself being more than just the guy that owns Godfrey Standards. I see myself doing more and being more. And if that takes me sacrificing my youth to work crazy hours that people don't want to work, well, I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, like, me and my family, we started the haunted house business this year. And, man, that is something I see my future going towards. I don't, I've always told my parents, and I don't even tell TikTok this a lot, is just, and I don't want to be 40, 50 cutting grass. I don't want to,
Right.
I do not want to do that. And a lot of people would be like, dude, then why do you even post about it? Why do you like about it now? I never said I would fully give it up.
Mm-hmm.
I would never fully give it up because I know the money it can bring.
Mm-hmm.
But now I am taking, like, this last year I didn't buy a lot of equipment because I took a lot of my money and I'm trying to start another business, and I see other businesses can bring in just as much money, if not a lot more. So I see myself in the 5 to 10 year plan. You know, I hope to look back on it and say my company grew grew super well, but I also hope to say I've got other businesses that are up and running that I'm putting a lot of my focus on too. So yeah, I don't really know, honestly. I don't know where it'll really be in 5 to 10 years.
But it sound
I
like,
guess
man,
time will I guess time will tell.
yeah, yeah, but you got a plan, and that's good, man, for you to say, man, I don't want to be 40 and 50 and still just cutting grass, because that shows me that as young as you is, you're already planning your future out to expand and exceed lawn care. You do have guys, man, on social media. They just they start their business and that's it. They're gonna stay right there. And like you say, it's nothing wrong with that. And there's also nothing wrong with you want more. Because I always look at life like, man, we're not gonna be here forever. So why not
Yeah,
accomplish all the things you want to accomplish while you're young, while you have health, strength, and wisdom? Like, why not? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, for sure. And I mean that's why, like, besides posting on social media, like I told you, I don't want to sit at no gas station and talk about lawn care. I don't love it that much to just
Mm-hmm.
sit there and talk about it because I know how much more me as a person offers in life than just that's the dude that cuts my grass.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, I could stop right now and I could have a good living. I could have
Mm-hmm.
a good life,
Mm-hmm.
and I could pause right now where I'm at and provide for a family and do just fine. But I'm young, I'm healthy, and I've got a lot more goals that are coming for the next
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 years. That if my health does hold up and everything goes to plan, yeah, you'll see me owning multiple true pretty big businesses that I want to expand and just keep growing.
Right. 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 Now let me ask you, do you currently read any books or watch motivational speakers? Like, where does your motivation come from?
I watch a lot of motivation, honestly. I'm not a big reader, but I do watch a good bit of podcasts and I watch a good bit of motivational stuff. So I mean, I try to wake up every day with a purpose. I mean, you got 24 hours. You take away your sleep. You got a couple hours throughout the day, and I try to make the most of it, from sunrise to sundown. I try to prioritize my health, my relationships, but also really focus in on my business. So I won't lie. Yeah, I'm just like any other human. I get distracted. I get distracted on social media, just constantly brain rot scrolling. But for the most part, I've got a set plan of what's going on that day, and all of it has to be completed for some reason for my brain to just be satisfied. Like there's different things that okay, you have to do this, you have to do this, and then if I don't do something, I'm really hard on myself, which may or may not be a good thing to some people. Some would say I'm way too hard on myself, um, because in every aspect of life, I try to be 100%. I try to give it my all because I mean, big eye openers. Like I had a cousin, um, he worked for a tree company, super young, super healthy. He was bike riding, uh, and now he fell on his neck and he's fully paralyzed
Man.
for now.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day he'll be able to walk again. But stuff like that shows me, man, there's people in the hospital. There's people that can't walk. So if I'm tired from work, heck, at least I can experience that back pain. At least I can
Yeah.
experience the pain in my legs because I'm tired.
Yeah.
So every day I wake up, I'm like, shoot, man, I'm breathing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm living.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I go out and go do something? But then I also see so many people that are younger and older, and I'm like, y'all just waste time.
Yep.
Like it
Yep.
makes me mad because I can't fathom of why they're just wasting so much time. And I'm like, they they understand, but they don't understand. They don't know that this life's going to go by fast and that they just wasted so many years. And I'm honest with you, Gibson. I stopped trying to change people. I just got a small circle,
Yeah.
and me and my guys we're ready to go. Like I don't know many young guys or older guys that are just ready to go like I'm ready to go. I'm ready to conquer everything in in my life. Whatever is hard and is in the way, I'm going for it. It just that's not business. That's anything in life that I'm just trying to fully give it all I got. And not every day's amazing, but I tell you what, my bad days are better than most 90% of Americans. So
Right.
um, I'm happy. I'm happy to say that and know that, not in a cocky way, just in a way of I see everybody around me, and my biggest thing is I listen to what people have to say, but I also evaluate their life, and if it's not the life that I really want, or see them as a person that I want to listen to, I don't care if you're 17. If you're killing it in life, I'm down to listen to you. But if you're 50 years old and you're trying to tell me advice and I need to respect my elders, I don't respect you as a person if I see
Mm-hmm.
how you're living. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'll respect you. I'll respect you, but I ain't got to listen to you, nor will I take advice from you. So
Mm-hmm.
I really choose. I choose nowadays who I communicate with and who I take advice and who I listen to a lot because yeah, I mean I don't care the age you are. I never have. It's everybody's like you need to respect the people older than you and they've done a lot more in life than you have and I hate to say it, but if they're living the life I don't want to live, I'm not taking their advice because why would I?
Right, right. Because like you said, man, you have that. Like you say, you don't try and encourage people anymore. Not saying encourage, but like you, like how you explaining to me on how you start your business and how you want more for yourself. Like you would be so excited to pump somebody else up to motivate somebody else, and it's like you're doing it in
Yeah,
vain because they hear you, but it's like, man, I'm gonna just stay at McDonald's, man. I don't really want to do nothing else. And like you said, you have that small circle of friends and I know because I got a real close friend, man, we motivate one another. Like when I see him doing something like if like one of my good friends just went and bought a boat. Like I didn't look at that as jealousy or envy. I looked at that like, man, that man grinding. He just bought a boat, just
he's
took
on
it.
it.
Yeah, he just took his wife on vacation. Man, I need to get on my grind. I want to take my wife on vacation. And it's like when you
Uh
got
huh.
that, when you have that small group of friends that just motivate one another, you can do nothing but be great.
Yeah, I mean, I got my parents. They now own a business because I'm not gonna lie. My dad will tell you straight to anybody. Um, when I started my lawn care business around year 2 or 3, he seen the money that I was bringing in,
Mm-hmm.
and he worked at a factory his whole life, and I don't blame him for it because he had kids young and he had to provide for a family. And
Mm-hmm.
a business can be very scary at that point
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
someone at that age and that has all the bills. But he's seen me, and now when he's seen me on around year 2 or 3, I can't remember. I think it was year 2. He uh, he was like, "Man, I can't have my own son making more than me and my wife. Like this." He was like, and he wasn't hating. He was just
Yeah.
like, this was an eye opener for
Mm-hmm.
me. Um, so now him and my mom and my brother, my brother works for my dad and mom, and they own a painting business in Cartersville too.
Wow.
So and now we got the haunted house opened up, and we're 50-50 in that. So
Right.
we uh we went from a family with no business owners to now all we all do is just run businesses.
And you know what, man?
Um,
All of this stems from you making the decision. All of this stems from you
yeah,
making the decision to change your life, and in turn, you change your whole family's life.
yeah, they've seen the reality of what a business can bring, and they'll tell you firsthand, no, it ain't easy, and no, it's not for the average Joe. It's just not. You're going to fail if you're looking at business as something easy and you get free time and you get all this time off and stuff. Well, you're coming into it with the wrong mindset. I'll tell
Right.
anyone that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so they'll tell anyone if you're ready for a business, be ready to sacrifice. I mean, and be ready for people not to understand, and be ready for people to say that must be nice.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
I
Right.
mean, be ready for those people because they have no clue of how you got there. And I
Mm-hmm.
see that's why you started the podcast was to let people know,
Mm-hmm.
hey, all these people came from different backgrounds. They all came from nothing at one point,
Mm-hmm.
and all y'all see is like you said, you see you going from a cheap mower to it flashes in a 5-second video and now he's here.
Mm-hmm.
But people in their head are thinking, well, heck, if he did that, I could probably do that. But they don't see the 4 years of missing out on parties, people telling you, man, why do you work so much? Why are you so different now? You got, I mean, when I was young, I had to understand, like, I didn't even party, but at the time I was like, man, my friends are in college. Like, I'm missing out on all these events. I'm missing out on this. But I tell you what, now, after me starting a business, both of my friends that ended up going to college for sports, tell you what now, Gibson, they both own businesses. One is in lawn care in my area.
Mm-hmm.
He's my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Lawn care. He does marketing agency and he does the Christmas light installs. And then the other one that you see, he he works for me, but he also does Christmas lights in the wintertime,
Mm-hmm.
and he works on his stuff in the wintertime. So basically, everyone I surround myself with on a daily now,
All
the
winners.
5 people they're all, and even my wife, she now she still works her normal job as a server, but she also she's in school for nails,
Mm-hmm.
and she runs her nail business out of out at our property. So everyone that I'm around on a daily and speak to, now they all understand me. It's not like when I was in the first 2 years. Now all of
Mm-hmm.
them truly understand what a business like, and we all run businesses. So now, year 4, I've got a completely different circle. Everybody that I'm around is ready to grind, and everybody understands. Like, heck, if I'm not out of that bed by at least 7:30, 8 o'clock, I've got everyone in my circle kind of chewing me out. Like, dude, what are you doing? You gonna just waste the day? And I'm like,
Right.
dang, golly,
Right.
y'all hard on me. So I gotta get going. Y'all making me feel like bums out here.
Right. And man, it's something interesting you say it. Like you said, when you start a business, you have to be willing to put in the grind. Because you have guys, man, like I've worked with guys over the years. When they're on a job, they only want to work 40 hours. They want their own business, but on the job, they only want to work 40 hours. And I tell people, like, look, man, if you want to start a business, you can't just quit your job, start your business. You have to work your job to continue to pay your bills and start your business on the side. I said, that's the hard part. But
Oh yeah,
not only that, when you go full time in this business, you're going to have to put in more than 40 hours. And people say they want it, they think they do, but a lot of guys is not like you in their 20s and teens actually putting in the grind to now live the life that you're living now.
yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of them don't want it, and then they have a lot of people that will hold them back. Like when I say picking the woman in your life, or heck, even if a girl's listening to this, the man in your life, picking that woman in your life though is a huge game changer. Because if you're gonna pick a woman that doesn't
Yep.
understand you,
Yep.
like now my wife fully understands. Maybe on year 1 it was a change of things because all she knew me was is a high school athlete that all he did was train, work out, and train for his sport. And then all of a sudden, oh crap, I ain't seeing him every day like I used to see him. But
Right.
she she stuck it out with me. And if you're, all I'm gonna say is they better pick the right woman to
Right.
understand.
Right.
Because
Right.
if you're gonna start a business, you better be ready for people to change with you. Because if they ain't changing with you, they're probably gonna get left behind. And that's just the sad reality of it.
Yep. Yep.
I've always told people, if you don't like my schedule and I'm too busy of a person, hey, anyone's good to always walk out of my life.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Yep.
If you ain't ready for this, I ain't gonna force you to be ready. Just
Right.
don't hold me back.
Right. Don't hold you back. Don't hold you back. Now, look, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I do have just
You're good.
one more question for you. Today, where you stand at today, and all of the things you have working in your favor, if you can go back to your younger self right before you was about to start this business, what's the one key advice you would give yourself?
One key advice I'd give myself right now, looking back at it, is don't. Nowadays, I don't doubt myself. I don't doubt um the stuff I do. I used to have major doubt, and there's still times when starting a new business that I will have slight doubt, but it's nothing like it used to be. Don't have doubt. Connections are everything. Don't be afraid to talk to people, but always watch your back and surround yourself with good people. Those are the 3 things I would tell people. Um, you got to keep going every day, even when you feel like giving up. Keep pushing it. Surround yourself with good people, but also connections are going to be huge in any business. You got to get out there and talk to people, and you can't always solo Rambo everything. So you gotta have people in your life to pick you up when you're down. And then number one thing that I tell everybody, you gotta trust in the Lord. What happens is what happens, and only he knows what's going to happen. So that's all you can do. Do
Amen.
what you can do every single day is what is my motto. Do what you can do every single day that you're capable of, and make every hour count. Whether that's memories or whether that's working and grinding on yourself. Don't just sit around and let the time go by, because you'll look back on it and you'll see that you wasted a lot of time if you do just sit there and do nothing.
Man, amen. Amen. Mr. Godfrey, man, I really appreciate your time. If you want to plug your socials, you can tell everybody where they can watch your content at.
At GS Landscaping, you'll see a white and black tree as my logo. May change it one day, but for now it's GS Landscaping. Everybody go give me and Gibson a follow. And yeah, if y'all got any more questions, my DMs or my private messages are always open. So y'all can find me on Instagram at just Preston Godfrey. Anything else that you need is Godfrey Standards Landscaping. So yeah, and also go follow the Farm Affairs. That's going to be the next business for the next few, hopefully my lifetime, honestly. So y'all go follow the haunted house, and yeah, we're going to keep rocking out, and I hope everyone has a blessed day.
Thanks, man. Thanks again, Mr. Godfrey, for checking in with me and being on the Valley from the Valley to the Mountaintop podcast.
Yes, sir. I hope you the best, and I hope you have some good interviews with some other people.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, I'll see you, Gibson.
All right. Bye. All right, everybody. Let's give him a round of applause. I will say, man, that young man is very, very he motivated me, man. And some of the things he said and how young he is, and just that hunger and that grind for success. So what y'all heard his story from start, and we're not even halfway through this young man's life. He has so much more potential ahead of him. And what this is showing, you can do it too. You can do it too. You have to be willing to put in the grind. You have to be willing to put in the grind. And look, I'm a Christian man, and I love quoting Bible verses. And this one Bible verse I just been on lately. It says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise." If you ever watch the ant, you will see how hard an ant works. As soon as you destroy an ant mound, it's immediately putting that thing back together. And that's what we have to do with our time. We cannot waste our time. We don't know how long we're going to be here. We have to impact the lives around us, and we have to just grind and work. And you rest when you can, and you grind when you can. This young man made a decision as a teenager to start a business, and in turn, it impacted his whole family to start business. He surrounded himself with winners. Everybody around him wins. I really see some positive things from Mr. Godfrey. And thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see y'all on the next one.